everyone, and welcome to this week's Digital Manufacturing Talk. My name is Tyler Fenhouse. I'm the marketing manager for Symphony AI Industrial. We've got a great informational talk lined up for you today. Called Proceedix, a connected worker solution. As you may know, Symphony AI Industrial is a digital manufacturing plant performance and operational and connected worker solution. Symphony AI Industrial is a Symphony AI vertical. There are several Symphony AI verticals. You can see them there on your screen. And we are one of the largest, if not the largest, enterprise AI companies with more than 1,600 customers and 3,000 employees. We are presenting on the Teams format this morning. We've got a lot of people, but just be informed that you can ask any question that you want to our presenter, Anderson, and he will answer them live right here at the end of the talk. So make sure you're getting those questions here in the chat. And also Anderson will be asking you a series of poll questions, which will kind of guide his presentation. So make sure you're paying attention to that because those will be popping up periodically. All right, so you didn't come here to listen to me yammer all day, so I'm going to hand it off to Anderson. He's got a lot to cover. So Anderson, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome. And thank you for joining. I hope that we'll get to show you some cool stuff today and learn a little bit. The worst case scenario is you leave here learning something. Best case scenario is we solve some problems for you. So as Tyler said, this is part of Symphony AI Industrial. The first thing I'll do is kind of jump into a little quick introduction about myself so you kind of get to know me. My name is Anderson Lemos, obviously. I run the solution engineering team here at Symphony AI Industrial, which just means I'm the liaison between the sales team and the engineering team. My background is mostly technical in manufacturing, everything from programming, CAD, CAM, CNC machines, industrial automation, robots, mostly in discrete manufacturing, either medical device, electronic assemblies, as well as some process manufacturing as well. My main focus has been on the different software solutions that power the manufacturing floor, whether it's CAD, CAM, or connected worker, or MES systems, even ERP systems, maintenance systems, etc. And when I'm not focusing on all these three-letter acronyms in manufacturing, then I'm probably hanging out with my kids and watching a Formula One race. My 1.5-year-old son actually just got to that age where he can actually sit down and watch about 15 minutes of the race. So that's really exciting. He's not at the full 2 hours yet, but we're working on it. So for all of you Formula One fans out there, I'd love to chat about it later if you want to. So quick intro, a quick agenda. We covered the intro already. We'll talk a little bit about the solution in action. I'll give you an example of what kind of a connected worker solution looks like when it's interacting with other systems. What are some of the things it does and what it provides? And then we'll go a little bit deeper. We'll dig a layer deeper into some of the details and the features of the solution. Then we'll talk about leveraging the data. That's all. What I'm saying there is all the data that this connected worker solution is collecting. How do we leverage that? How do we do something with that, right? Data is usually a cost associated to it. How do we turn it into information, AKA value, profit, etc.? And then for the last 5-10 minutes or so, we'll leave some room for Q&A. So feel free as you guys come up with questions, throw them in the chat or go ahead and ask them, and we'll follow up at the end and get all those questions answered for you. I'll make sure to leave my contact info, so if you have something in the future, if you're shy in front of big crowds, then you can just shoot me an email or a text directly. So to kick off, I'll let Tyler run this, but we're going to have a first poll question. What sector of manufacturing are you in?
All right. Yep, we got a poll question right there. Go ahead and click to vote. Just like you said, real easy. What sector of manufacturing industry are you in? Process, discrete, automotive, agriculture, chemical, food and bev, or not in manufacturing? Go ahead and click to vote. And again, this will kind of guide where Anderson is going to take this. So if we take a look, all right, looks like about half the room is voted. I'll leave it open for a little longer. Go ahead and click, and we appreciate your participation. And Anderson, I'm not sure if you can see the results. I can see them in real time, but I'll
I can't see them.
okay, good deal. And that's okay. We'll let you go here. Someone said they're in water treatment systems, which is not an option. They just chatted in the chat, which is
Sorry
great.
about
Okay.
that. I should have put other on there. That's my apologies.
There you go. That's okay. All right. So 2 more seconds to vote. And let's take a look at the results. So it looks like, and everybody, you can see the results also in the chat. So 39% process, 11% discrete, 6% chemical, 22% not in manufacturing, and 6% automotive, 0% agriculture, 17% food and bev. Back to you, Anderson.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That really helps, guys. Nice to see that we have a pretty diversified audience today, too. All right. So what we're looking at, it's Symphony AI Industrial's main buckets of information or of solutions that we have. We do have quite a few different products, but really the essence of what we do, this is kind of the big picture. We connect people, processes, and assets. Inside the people portion is what we'll talk about today. I'll come back to that in a second. Processes could be what we call digital manufacturing. So whether it's MES, manufacturing execution systems, MOM, manufacturing operations management systems, vision systems, KPI dashboards, all of the above will fall into that digital manufacturing bucket. And then third is what you see all the way on the right, which is plant performance. Plant performance is vibration and condition monitoring, asset performance management, those kinds of software where you have some heavy assets, big assets, machines, pumps, rotors, motors, etc., that kind of thing. We're monitoring those and giving you actionable. Of course, with the AI in our company name, we are actually providing some prescriptive and predictive analytics and other AI tools scattered throughout our different software solutions that we're talking about. But for today, we're going to focus on people portion of it, which is our connected worker solution, Proceedix. And so we'll dig a little bit deeper into what is that exactly. So Proceedix, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're digitizing your work instructions and inspections. Now, with the audience being so diversified, like we saw in the polls, it's not a rigid system where it's like, hey, we only do maintenance or we only do inspections. You can do anything you want on Proceedix that makes sense for you to do. Whether you're inspecting an asset, no, not including sales. I use Proceedix for sales, so technically the answer to your question is yes. Anywhere where there's a workflow, right? So I'll give you an example. I was walking through a manufacturing plant of ours that uses Proceedix. They use it for all kinds of things, maintenance, for production line changeover, cleaning the production line, all of these things. And as I'm walking past, in front of one of their water coolers, there's a QR code on the wall. And so I saw that and I thought it was interesting. I said, hey, what's this QR code for? And they said, oh, that's actually, it pulls up Proceedix. It's actually gives anybody who scans it, it gives them the procedure on how to change the water cooler filter and the gallon of water on top, right? So you can use it for a number of different things. It's very versatile. It's very easy to configure. And I'll kind of walk you through that as we go through it today. But in essence, what it's doing is it's taking some kind of procedure, like you see here on the left. We have a dusty piece of paper that's been printed out probably 50 times before and laminated, sitting on somebody's toolbox. Maybe it's the right revision, maybe it's the wrong revision. You can be pretty sure that if it's the wrong revision, somebody's going to pull it out on the same day that the auditor is walking by. Been there, done that, right? The PDF in the middle is somebody's attempt at getting off of just strictly paper and trying to use a PDF document, and that's a good move in the right direction, but it's not exactly everything's there. You're putting every detail on one piece of paper. You might not have the good traceability and audit trails of who filled out what. There's some challenges with that, right? And we'll address those as we go through the presentation today. And then the third picture you see to the right, it's somebody calling somebody. Now, in manufacturing, if I'm out on a plant, if a machine goes down, or if I'm out in a factory, whatever it is, something happens. Generally, somebody has to call somebody or somebody has to use a walkie-talkie. So Proceedix also provides that through feedback action management system that we call inside of Proceedix. So I can send somebody a task. And we also handle remote assistance. So if I'm a junior technician and I don't know, maybe Ken or Alejandro's out on the shop floor, and they're the senior technician, maybe they're not near the machine that I'm at, I can just remote assist with them. We can do video call, much like a FaceTime, except we're actually tracking a lot of the data that's going through. So if you send me a procedure, or I send you a procedure, we can kind of see those that data that was exchanged and the workflow that was followed. So essentially, that's Proceedix takes all of these things and digitizes it and puts it into a mobile format. Overall, that's kind of how it works. Now, the one thing I'll touch on this slide, I'm going to touch on this later, but keep in mind that Proceedix will work on tablets, cell phones, laptops, desktops, you name it, we can put it on it, right? It's Android, Apple, iOS, whatever you want. And we also work with smart glasses. So if your company is wanting to go into that assisted and augmented reality space, we also work on smart glasses. A lot of our clients have tried it. Some like it, some don't. There's some challenges in that industry, but it's certainly gaining a lot of momentum and hype around it. So Proceedix, you don't have to build a special workflow in order to go onto your augmented reality glasses. It's just part of what we do. You build the workflow once, and you can present it on any device. It dynamically adapts to the device's screen and what kind of device you're using, all of those good things. All right, so what I have prepared is a little cartoon figure of what it would look like on a manufacturing floor. So here I'm going to outline kind of, what a factory, kind of the operations that happen in a factory, and kind of give you an overview of what that would look like. Oh, somebody said that the screen looks a little small. Let me see if open up to a bigger screen. Does that look better?
Yeah, that's good.
That looks better. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that, Alejandro. So if we look at this factory, this hypothetical factory, there's some legacy systems in place. So you guys probably have some kind of an MES system, whether it's software or it's an Excel spreadsheet. You might have some kind of a CMMS system, which is a maintenance system, right? Keeping records of what was done and who did it and how long it took them, for example. Maybe it does all of that, maybe it doesn't. But your CMMS system will likely trigger some actions that need to happen. Hey, Bob, you need to go maintain machine number 3. It's preventative maintenance time, or something's wrong with it. You need to go do that. And then lastly, we have an ERP system. There's, maybe you're sending some information up to your ERP system regarding, hey, we worked on this job. It took us 15 hours to do it. And then ERP can make some decisions based on what job goes next, or, how long it took. So let's do the math of how much did this cost us to make. Did we make money on this job or not? On top of, and there could be 10 other systems, right, that we integrate with very commonly. Connected Worker, or in this case, Proceedix, it very rarely is a standalone system. Almost always we're integrating with somebody else or your other legacy systems, whether it's ERP, MES, et cetera. So what we do, we take, for example, if it's in this case, I'm going to use a CMMS. Let's say a CMMS system finds that there's an issue with a machine. So you'll see that first bubble there. Hey, we've identified that machine number 3 or line number 3 is having a problem with the conveyor belt, whatever it is. That CMMS system, and it could be the same for your ERP, your MES, any other acronym and that software that you have on your shop floor, that can trigger a workflow, and then from there you can follow that workflow on Proceedix. So think about it like your MES or your CMMS system is kind of the what to do, like, hey, you need to go fix this machine, or you need to go replenish this production line, or do a changeover, whatever that task is, and then Proceedix will be the how to do it. So if I follow the step-by-step instructions like you see in this middle task here with the cell phone, then or the tablet, whatever device you're using, then I will finish this task, and then I can send that data back, which we'll cover in a couple more little bubbles here as well. Really, it's a mobile application for the deskless worker. And of course, it can be laptop and desktop as well if you'd like to. One of the key highlights here is it's really just giving you those simple step-by-step guidance, but it is also an offline first architecture. And what I mean by that is if somebody's using a cell phone or a tablet, they go out, they're in the office, and hey, I have good connectivity. That's great. But now I go out to the manufacturing floor. I'm walking around, and there's an area where the Wi-Fi just doesn't capture, and it's not good. That's not a problem for Proceedix. So Proceedix will continue operating as normal, no issues. We'll continue caching the data that you're uploading into the device. So if you're capturing maybe how many bars of pressure this machine's set to, or how tight I torque down these bolts, so I have 46 foot-pounds of torque, for example, right? We'll continue capturing all that data and just caching it on the device. When the operator person or the maintenance person, whoever it is, walks back into an area where they have connectivity, we automatically re-upload the data. They don't have to hit refresh. They don't have to press any special buttons, no airplane mode on, off, no special tricks. It just automatically sends that up to the network as soon as they can. We do support on-prem and private cloud, as well as shared cloud. So whatever system, whatever install you want to, that's where we'll send the data to a database, essentially. All right, so our legacy system has triggered a workflow. We follow that workflow. We fix the problem. Maybe during that fix, I need to do a remote assist call. Again, we do support that. We see a lot of positive on that. We partner with a company called AMA Expert Eye, and we also use Microsoft Teams. So either or systems, our clients see a lot of improvement on connecting siloed teams. So if there's a team in I don't know, Illinois, and then another team in Mississippi or something, use your imagination, wherever your factories are. You can connect those two teams as they work on something. Maybe the other team has the professional or the expert, the subject matter expert on this machine. You can connect those two teams. We're seeing a lot of good feedback between connecting maybe an engineering team and a maintenance team, or the operations team out on the shop floor with the technician or engineering team or maintenance, those kinds of connections. We do support, of course, video and audio calling through there. The second one will be the launching and managing of actions that you see here at the bottom. So users can send actions from one user to the other. So if I run into a problem, or maybe it's just part of my workflow where I can do the first 15 steps of this procedure, the next 5 need to be checked off by my manager, my supervisor, or by a counterpart who does the other part of this. Maybe I handle the left side of the machine, he handles the right side of the machine, that kind of thing. I can send that action to them, and it would just appear on their application, their Proceedix application, as a to-do. And then finally, the last thing we'll talk about here in the bubbles will be execution data. So everything that I've done up to this point, I've launched a workflow from a legacy system. I've completed the workflow. I followed the step-by-step guidance. Maybe I've made some inputs, how much pressure the machine was at, how many foot-pounds of torque I torqued it down to. My pair of calipers measured this at 1 inch, 0.05. I inputted that. Maybe there's some IoT devices that are connected to the system as well, and they're automatically uploading that data. Maybe I have an Atlas Copco screwdriver that's IoT enabled, and that as soon as I take that reading, I can upload that to Proceedix. All of that data that we're capturing, including who did it, when they did it, how long it took, all that data is collected and then sent back to our database, or technically the client's database, your database. And then that can be used for data analytics. So whether you're doing Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, Symphony AI has a KPI 360 dashboard as well with AI enabled features in it. Any one of those, we can send that data back into a dashboard, and now you actually have insight into what your manufacturing environment is actually doing. So you're not just running like, hey, we need to go fix this machine, get somebody out there, get them fixing it. you can still do that. You can still operate that way, but now you're actually gathering data on that fire you just put out, right? So it's really helpful in getting that insight into your operations from a manual labor perspective. When you look at traditionally manufacturing machines, assets, they have a lot of sensors on them and a lot of information and data that we're gathering. Now, it can be controversial. Are we using that data correctly? Are we even using that data at all? That's a different webinar for a different day. But yeah, essentially, the labor side of things has traditionally been a blind spot for manufacturing, and so that's what we're working to solve. Again, this goes into that full audit trail. So also for those in the audience, I think we mentioned there was some chemical in the audience. Anywhere there's some stringent compliance risk, compliance factors, even GXP or GMP compliance, that kind of thing. This is how you achieve that with your manual labor. Proceedix has a lot of GXP or GMP compliance features pre-built. Our roadmap is filled with GMP compliance stuff. A lot of our clients come to us for that because of the compliance factor, making sure that you have full traceability and audit trails. So if you have that, make sure to send me a note. We can definitely help you with that kind of stuff. There's a lot of strong suits that lends itself well to that scenario. And then finally, I'll touch on real quick integrations. So between your legacy systems, of course, we can integrate. We do REST API. We can do direct integrations as well. We have customers that do have some direct integrations into Proceedix. It's a matter of what makes the most sense per application. But if we can do a REST API, for example, if maybe we can just do something as simple as a JSON payload that goes back and forth. It's completely dependent on how that looks. We also, all of our execution data goes into a database. So maybe you can just push and pull directly from that database, as can we. And that's easier to go that way. So we're pretty flexible on those integrations. It's just a case-by-case scenario that we go and look at. I know there's a couple questions in the chat about that. We'll look at each case-by-case scenario and say, okay, this makes the most sense to do a direct integration, or this makes the most sense to just do a web API, REST API call. We support it either way. We're very flexible on that. Again, Proceedix is almost never a standalone system. It's almost always integrated into some existing systems, like you see listed here. So our integration expertise is very high. We have a lot of pre-built connectors that we can leverage. We've, get it. Obviously, you have to tailor it to your integration, your implementation of SAP, for example, but all of that, the integration is self-service if you want. We do have REST API documentation. So there's a lot of customers that we have who are completely built their integration. And so we don't even know what they're integrated with if they're not on our shared cloud environment, right? If they're on their own cloud. But we can also build out. We have our team who builds integrations as well, so we can work with you either way. And then I'll answer that one real quick. So the tenancy, it's either or. So you can go single tenancy if you'd like to on your private cloud. We can spin up a private instance for you as well. And if you go on our shared cloud, then it is a multi-tenancy. Of course, it's siloed, and there's a lot. It's Microsoft Azure, so it's extremely safe. We're top tier Microsoft partners, so there's a lot of safeties built in there. There's a lot of features inside of Proceedix as well on top of that make the multi-tenancy environment very safe. We are SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, so there's a lot of safety features built in there and data separation that makes sure that we're following all the correct standards. All right. With that, some of the key highlights that we talk about, are that simple step-by-step guidance, device agnostic, whether you're using cell phone, tablets, laptops, desktops, etc. Dynamic and conditional workflows. That's a big one. I'm going to touch on that real quick. So what do we mean by dynamic and conditional workflows? What it means is if I'm following like that PDF that we saw a couple slides ago, and there's 36 steps on that PDF, maybe I hit a certain step where there's a task where I need to do it. It's like, oh, I can't do this because I'm missing a tool, or I don't have the proper certifications, or I don't know how to do this. The PDF can't really adapt to that, right? There's an issue there, and you have to make a conditional logic inside of Proceedix where it says, okay, I've hit a condition and now I need to change my path. So that's what conditional logic is in the Proceedix, if then, so what statements. So I can actually account for those real life scenarios because of the digital nature of Proceedix. It's not a static piece of paper, and I can adapt to that condition that we've encountered. It can be a value that somebody input from a machine. Maybe it's a good value, maybe it's a bad value, and we have to follow a different workflow accordingly. Maybe it's somebody else launched an action, and so that causes a condition that I need to go do something. It could be an answer that I gave, like, do you see any damage on the part? Well, if you answer yes, then you obviously are probably going to follow a different workflow than if I answered no. So we can make that conditional workflow work within Proceedix. It's completely seamless for the user, the operator, the maintenance person out on the floor. They would just answer the question and it would give them the next step. So that's a really nice feature. Remote assistance we talked about, and we already talked about traceability. With that being said, I'm going to use this poll question number 2, hand it off to Tyler so I can have a sip of water.
All right, we've got another poll question up. Anderson, fantastic. Hey guys, and in the audience, great interaction. Love the questions. But let's take a look. Have you ever used a connected worker solution? Real simple. Yes, no, or never heard of it until today. Go ahead, just a radio button, click to vote. We're going to leave this open for about 15 seconds and we'll kind of get a feel for the audience here. Looks like about half of you have responded. Go ahead and click to vote. And again,
I see your answer there, Alejandro. Well,
yeah.
You'll have to reach out to me later. I'd like to get your feedback on how that went.
Okay, good deal. I'll leave it open for a couple more seconds. We like this new format. We used to use GoToWebinar, but this is a lot more interactive. The presenter, Anderson, can see your questions coming in. That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Alejandro.
So let's take a look. So it looks like, have you ever used a connected worker solution? 42% of the room says yes. 5% says never heard of it until today. And 53% say no. Back to you,
Awesome.
Anderson.
Those are good results. So it's really split down the middle, but it pretty much the notion is that most of you have heard of it. So that's good. There's certainly a lot of benefits to using one, and I was kind of poking some fun with Alejandro there. And there's creating one. It might seem simple up front, but there's a lot of challenges when you actually get into what the software does. With that, I'll segue into. I got it. I see what it does. I get a little bit of the gist of the picture of what it looks like. But where can I use it? There's a lot of solutions in the market that are very focused on one area, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a different way of approaching the problem. Proceedix, in its nature, because it's very configurable, so we give you the freedom to configure it to do anything you want, anything in between quotes, without losing any of like the functionality, the base functionality, and also it's still easy to use. It's a hard combination to get right. It's technically a no code environment. You never have to code anything inside of Proceedix. The only time somebody will have to write some code is if you're doing some kind of integration with another software. And that's really just for the integration layer. It's not inside of Proceedix, so to speak. The application itself lends itself really well into maybe if you have some quality systems. So any area where there's a lot of traceability and audit trails, if you're inspecting an asset, if you're inspecting a finished good, imagine you're building, I don't know, airplane engines, or you're building a chemical that goes and could potentially cause some harm. Anywhere of those areas where there's some stringent quality requirements, Proceedix does really well on that. We have an example from a customer who takes a bunch of samples from their lab. They follow the procedure on Proceedix on how to correctly acquire these samples or collect these samples, how to properly label them, how to properly seal them, We scan all the barcodes with Proceedix. As you saw on that other slide, we do handle barcode scanning within the application native. So they collect all these samples, they put it into a bag. Maybe they attach some paperwork with it that they print out from the Proceedix capture. So automatically we print a report and then they put it in the bag. They ship it out to their lab that does all the testing. And then the lab actually provides the results back, and the results are automatically scraped by Proceedix, and we can say, hey, everything's good. You don't need to do anything else. We passed the QC inspection, the lab inspection, or maybe, hey, we have some contamination on line 3. Automatically triggers a workflow to say, go to line 3 and start cleaning conveyor belt A on line 3, or whatever other workflow needs to happen. So that's a really nice picture of how to use it in quality, a little bit of productivity, and even a little bit of reliability. And that in that picture, it's a lot of automation built in as well. So the person, instead of having to go fill out a piece of paper, they're actually being told how to do it. And then as they enter the results, we're automatically filling out a report. That report gets automatically generated and printed. Once they're completed, they sign off on it. We do CFR 21 Part 11 signatures as well. So it's a completely auditable, traceable signature and path. And then the lab results, when they come back, those are automated as well. And the triggers and actions that happen inside of Proceedix, much like that slide that we saw previously with the automatic triggered workflow, that will automatically trigger what needs to happen based upon that lab result. Of course, like I said, you can do line cleaning on a production floor, preventative maintenance, line changeover, all of those good things. A lot of our use cases are also in the maintenance space. So if there's a lot of maintenance technicians or maintenance personnel, or if you know of a maintenance team, a lot of them are using this because they'll use it in conjunction with their CMMS system or their asset management system for repairs, as they're monitoring a line. Maybe something starts getting a little bit out of whack according to their vibration sensors. That vibration sensor can automatically trigger a warning or a workflow inside of Proceedix and say, hey, you need to go out to machine number 4 and get this fixed. Again, everything's fully traceable inside of Proceedix, who did what, when, where, how, and we can integrate with your existing systems as well. This is a quick slide I wanted to flash to kind of give you an overview of what the platform actually looks like. So if you look here on the left, this is the administrator portal. So Proceedix is essentially 2 parts. It's this administrator portal, which is where the admin will be able to create workflows, edit workflows, manage revisions, history, scheduling, notifications, calendars, all of that good stuff. And then the second part will be the middle one, where it's the operator. So that user is going out and actually inspecting something or doing some kind of maintenance. They would be doing it on their cell phone and their tablet, their smart glasses, etc. These are the 2 main buckets of Proceedix. And then what we do is we take all that data and we push it out to what you see on the right side here, which is our reporting and analytics. Every single piece of data that we capture is in a database. It's digital data, so we can turn that into information and put that on a KPI dashboard, for example. The big value here is that if you're doing something on paper today, then somebody's writing it down, and then the only way to digitize that is you either scan it or you have somebody else do some manual entry, either into an Excel or a CSV file, and then from there it goes into a database. Maybe it most likely doesn't, and then it goes into a database, and then from there it can finally make its way into a BI tool like Power BI. We take and bypass all of that, and you're just using a cell phone or a tablet for your work instructions, and we're automatically sending that data in real time up to a BI dashboard if the connection allows. And as I go through it, so it's also going to give you a lot more granular visibility into your operations. We're not waiting until somebody figures out, a week later, hands in this piece of paper. It sits on some administrator clerk's desk for a week, and then maybe they entered it, maybe they didn't, maybe they fat fingered a digit or 2, who knows. we're automatically uploading that data as the operator inputs it. And a lot of it is automated. So I don't have to ask them who is doing this. I don't have to ask them how long it took them. I don't have to ask them what day it is, because we're automatically collecting that. And then finally, of course, we've talked about this a couple of times, but at the bottoms is where we handle all of our integration layers into our different systems, MES, ERP, etc. This is a quick snapshot of kind of what it looks like. On the left, you have a nice little workflow here. Maybe I add an image, add some text. It's very easy, no code, just drag and drop what I want, where I want. If anybody here is familiar with Microsoft Visio, you're going to open up Proceedix and you're going to feel right at home. And then on the right side, this is the operator view where they would see this on a cell phone or a tablet. Again, big green proceed, decline buttons, signature, you can sign with your finger. I give them some nice clear photos, PDFs, images, and request information that way as well. All right. And then with that, we have our third poll question, and then I'll let Tyler run this one.
All right, we got one more poll question for you, and then I believe Anderson is going to finish things up. Make sure you're getting those questions in. You can ask him right here live. He's been answering a couple of them right here before the Q&A, but go ahead and get those in. But the question is, do you consider connected worker as part of your digital transformation journey? Yes, no, or not in a digital transformation journey. So go ahead and get those votes in, and we will finish up shop here. And to everybody, if I know some people signed out early, we'll have this recording ready for everyone. So if you want that recording, also get that in the chat, and I will get that to you as soon as we upload it to YouTube. Anyways, we will leave this open for a couple more seconds. Looks like the majority of you have responded. I'll leave it open for 2 more seconds. All right, so it looks like 86% say yes. They do consider connected worker as part of their digital transformation journey. 13% not in a digital transformation journey, and 0% no. Back to you, Anderson.
Awesome. Those are great results. So you're either not in the journey or you consider it part of the journey. So that's awesome. Those of you who are not in a digital transformation journey, reach out to me afterwards and we can chat about why you should be. All right. So the basics parts here, it's I'm just going to highlight, what I gathered all this data. I know who did it. I know, why and how long it took. Okay, great. That's cool. I have all this data. The value of it is translating it into information that you can actually use. Imagine if you could see how long each operator is taking on each step granularly on your manufacturing floor, much like you can, if you have CNC machines or if you have mills or rollers or whatever different assets you have in your machine, or in your shop, you can see how long it takes to do something. Imagine having that kind of granular visibility on your manual labor. What kind of improvements you can make? Maybe, hey, the quality is going up when the guys take maybe an extra minute or 2 to do it. So maybe we need to set some time expectations. Maybe I can gain some visibility into understanding exactly which step of the process I'm in. When I go through a machine, I have all this visibility. It's 37% complete. But when it gets out into the manual labor side of things, maybe it's maintenance, maybe it's assembly, whatever it is, I don't really know where I'm at. I just know that I have an issue and how do I fix it. So that's where we provide all of that information. You can start really analyzing, and I know everybody talks about that buzzword, right? The data-driven decision. But this is actually how you get there. These are the stepping stones you take to get to that level where you are making data-driven decisions. And of course, on the right side, you see some custom reporting that Proceedix does handle as well. So you can automate that. You can automate reporting PDF. So if you're at the end of a workflow or at the end of a procedure, I can automatically create that workflow. Maybe I want to send it to my end customer. Maybe I just want to keep it for records, all of that good stuff. We do that as well. I won't spend too long here, but it's just kind of talking about augmented reality and assisted reality, and I used to work at a little company called Magic Leap that was big in augmented reality. And so know a thing or two about that. I'd love to chat if you guys want to chat a little bit later, in kind of what we do with augmented reality. We can certainly do that. But Proceedix does support augmented and assisted reality devices. So if you need somebody to be hands-free, for example, maybe I'm doing a task where I need both of my hands, and I need to be able to FaceTime or see a procedure, kind of walk me through it. One use case for this could be one of our customers is doing wind turbines, working on wind turbines. So they're up, 100 or so feet in the air. They need both hands in order to change something. So they can put on a pair of smart glasses, and it can walk them through it, or FaceTime or video call with somebody that can show them. They can see it, they can react to it, that kind of thing. Integrations, we've talked about a couple different times. I won't spend too much time here. I'm going to leave a couple minutes for question. We did talk about this earlier, but we do support shared cloud, private cloud, and on premises. So if whatever deployment type you need, we can work with you on that. Reach out and we can certainly get to the bottom of that. This is a strong, unique factor for Proceedix as well. A lot of our different products, solutions that are on the market may be only stuck on one way. We're completely agnostic to how you want to install. We'll work with you to get it installed onto your system. We can even spin up a private instance ourselves for you as well. All right, with that, I'll jump over to some Q&A questions, and I'll leave my contact info up on the screen. Tyler, do you have a few that got submitted?
Yeah, so you can see the questions that came into the chat. Some people ended up sending me directly. I've got two here before you look at the chat. Let me take a look. So one of the questions were, how does Proceedix handle the traceability topic when there is no connectivity, cell or internet, etc.?
Yeah, great question. So it really goes into, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but if they have no connectivity, it doesn't affect anything at all, any of the data we capture. So we're actually caching that data on the device. It's extremely reliable. Our customers are very happy with that. We have customers, again, that are out inspecting wind turbines in the middle of nowhere. We have customers inside of factories that are metal and don't have any connectivity either. Factories always have that connectivity challenge. So it's something we certainly accounted for, and we have what we call an offline first architecture. So essentially, as you input that data, we're just saving that data on your device, much like if you're taking notes on your cell phone, you can be in airplane mode. You can be anywhere you want. Your notes will still be there. If you're using like OneNote, for example, when you connect to internet, it's going to automatically upload it back into the cloud, and then you can pick up from your laptop and run with it. We do the same way. So we save all that data on the device. Once we establish connectivity again, we upload that data into our database.
Awesome. And then I got one more here that was sent directly, and then we can address the chat room. Does Proceedix integrate with legacy systems, specifically SAP or ERP?
Yes, absolutely. So we did touch quite a few times on that in the presentation. But yes, we have direct integration and REST API integrations with SAP. SAP is probably one of the biggest integrations that we have, or most common integrations that we have. Certainly one of our strong points. And again, you can integrate yourself. You can write the API yourself. You can use our team to do it. We do this all the time. We're really experts in this area, getting that connection and mapping the data and all of that good stuff. But yeah, something we certainly do very often.
Awesome. Okay, and then Anderson, if you could take a look at the chats, you can.
Yeah. Let's see. Alejandro had some questions about the Omniverse. I'm assuming you're talking about the metaverse. We don't have anything working on the metaverse. That's a good one.
Still in production.
Yeah. I think Alejandro had some about self-service. Yes, it can be. It can capture Wi-Fi direct data from sensors. Yes, we can do an integration there. think I answered the second one. So interface, what is the interface to read out data, API or DB Direct? We can do it either way. API, certainly we have an open API architecture, so we can provide that documentation as needed. You can write it or we can write it. And is the integration self-service or need tech support? It can be self-service if you'd like to. I would recommend we get together and have some training sessions with our guys and kind of walk you through it so we can show you some lessons learned, but it's certainly self-service. We have documentation on everything you can follow along. Is it multi-tenancy or single tenancy? We talked about that. For Microsoft Azure, OpenAI Enterprise or bring your own kit. So we do AI with Proceedix and a couple of other factors. I think there was another AI question in there as well. There are a couple AI features inside of Proceedix. We didn't get into them today. We can certainly have another webinar about that. But yes, you can. Our systems generally operate with some kind of Microsoft AI, whether it's OpenAI or Azure, those kinds of different AI systems. But you can integrate other systems into it as well. So we have a couple different AI applications scattered throughout our different solutions, and each of them we'll figure out. I don't know, Panda GPT or name another GPT in there that you'd like. We'll figure out which system makes the most sense to integrate with for the solution. Security is always a question around that as well. So yeah, we'd love to kind of learn a little bit more about what you're doing and where our AI can fit in. Let's see, I got another one. Stack said, so I make an inspection plan, and that based on the result of ongoing inspection, this solution can trigger various reactions. Example, additional inspection sheet in case of this issue. Yes, absolutely. So if I run into an issue, so you made an inspection and there's a conditional logic in there, depending on how I answer that conditional logic, if I run into this issue, I can launch another inspection or another action. It could be to me, it could be to somebody else, or I can just follow that workflow. Maybe it's a longer branch or a shorter branch, for example, or it could be 10, 15, 20 branches within branches if you want to. Yes, absolutely. So you can launch different actions. You can launch different inspections from the result of an inspection as well. Haifeng said, does normal cell phone support to install Proceedix? Yes. So normal cell phones, yeah. I mean, mine is installed on my Apple iPhone. You can use Android, laptop, tablets, yeah, etc. If you want to shoot me a message with which cell phone you have, I can look up which support. Most likely it's yes, but yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Heriberto asked if we have any success stories with Proceedix related to the mining industry. Yeah, Heriberto, reach out to me and we can get together and I'll show you some use cases that we have. I didn't pull up any use cases here. I was kind of just talking more about the solution itself. But yeah, certainly. And Haifeng asked about is there any detailed information regarding that glasses shown on the last page? Yes. I have use cases and customer studies about using smart glasses. So certainly can show you that. Again, reach out to me and I will get you that information about how our customers are using smart glasses. I think, Tyler, I have I have time for one more.
Yeah, I believe so.
Is there a kind of demo, Heriberto asked, is there a kind of demo space which can be used to present a solution to a potential customer as a POC? Is it enabled to work in different languages? Yes. So we do have a demo space. Certainly reach out to me on that. I can get you a custom demo of it. We can also set you up with a sandbox environment if you'd like to kind of get familiar with it as well. We do POCs as well. We call them POVs, proof of value, because it's not exactly a concept. It's a developed software, but either way, yes. And yes, it does work in different languages. I think I forget what the exact languages supported. I know it's French, Dutch, English, Spanish, that kind of thing. And we can walk through that as well. And you can build in any language you want. So if there's another language you'd like to build in, you can build that way.
Oh,
And
and then at the bottom, we can go to the top of the hour, Anderson. It's flexible for us, everybody here.
okay, perfect. Um, is the integration with SAP for both ECC and HANA? Yes. And if this solution was implemented with ECC in place and then later upgraded to HANA was taken, would it be a seamless transition? And go Piastri. Yes, I love Piastri. He's doing well for his first season. I'm very excited about that guy. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to answer that question without knowing some details. I would assume that it would not be a seamless transition. I would assume that you would have to make some adjustments, at least some variables. You might have to change the way the API call. There's likely some updates that would need to happen to go from ECC to HANA, but I could be wrong. But I would assume that there would be some minor tweaks that need to happen. But the good thing is that it wouldn't be like starting from scratch in a completely new integration. It would likely just be some tweaks and variables that you would have to update in order to make that transition from ECC to HANA. But SAP, again, is one of our biggest integrations. We have a lot of expertise in that area. So feel free to reach out, and I'd love to chat with you a little more about getting you integrated into SAP. All right, Tyler, that's the last question I saw in the chat.
Yep. No, fantastic. A lot of great interaction. We're gonna close up shop here. I'm just gonna give my little shtick here for 1 second. Thank you everybody for sticking with us to the end. Anderson, fantastic presentation as always. But hey, everybody that stuck to us with the end, you just sat in on one of our world famous digital manufacturing talks. We have them every Thursday, sometimes on a Wednesday. But they cover everything from connected worker to digital transformation and also plant performance topics, vibration, stuff like that. So if you're interested, just go to our website, symphonyindustrial.ai, go to resources and check out the webinar tab, and you can see what we've got coming down the pipeline. Anderson is going to be back here in September talking about connected worker again. But we've got things scheduled out all the way to up till Christmas, up till the week before Christmas. So every Thursday, make sure you check that out. We hope you sit in again real soon. Again, Anderson, fantastic job. And to everybody that stayed with us till the end, thank you very much. And if you ask for a recording, I'll have that link for you very soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.